Commercial banks. Every country has many commercial banks. An example would be like MCB, we have like Silk Bank. In Western economies, they would have like Citibank, JP Morgan, and stuff like that. So different countries have different commercial banks. What is commercial bank? All right. So these commercial banks, they provide a safe place to keep money and will also lend. Um, Commercial banks are also known as retail बैंक्स. जहाँ तक रिटेल बैंक्स की बात होती है, जैसे ये एमसीबी वगैरह, ये काफ़ी हद तक रिटेल बैंक्स की कैटेगरी में जा सकते हैं, क्योंकि दे lend टू businesses and households, मतलब individuals. They lend to businesses and households in a small sum of capital. जहां तक इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक्स हैं, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक्स, they deal in large sum of capital, like really large mergers and acquisitions. उनको डील करने के लिए रिटेल बैंक्स थोड़े से स्मॉलर स्केल के ऊपर काम करते हैं कंपैरेटिवली. So the way we can really explain commercial banks is what are their main activities. Main activities of the commercial bank. Now, remember one thing, you have a country's central bank, which is also the state bank. These state banks directly deals with commercial banks. The central bank deals with the limited number of commercial banks, and then commercial banks deals with businesses and households. ठीक है, with us. We can't go to the central bank and ask them to open an account with us or something. They're busy with much more bigger things, right? We're going to talk about the functions of the central bank, but we're dealing with the functions of the commercial banks right now. What do they do with us? What are their main activities? So, first, for a mark, you would say uh, their main activity would be to keeping money safe, right? A person who puts his money in the bank is called a depositor. Okay, so we say that bank walls are more secure than keeping money at home for obvious reasons. सो एक तो ये हमको ये सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं ये लोग, बल्कि इनफैक्ट व्हेन वी आर कीपिंग मनी, sometimes the deposit in our accounts, they can go into two kinds, right? Every time we deposit money, Deposits can go into two accounts. One is known as the current account, and one is known as the savings account. There are more kinds of accounts like dollar accounts, foreign currency accounts, and stuff like that. But the major two that you talk about in terms of depositing is the current account and the savings account. Current account pays little or no interest on deposits. वैसे तो यहाँ पर तो they don't pay any interest on the deposited money. So if I put 1,000, it stays in my bank account for a year, I will not earn any interest on it. However, if that same money was in the savings account, it pays a set amount, a set percentage, let's use a word, set percentage of interest on my savings. Do you understand that? That's the key difference between them. Current account will give you no interest. Savings account is going to give you an X percentage of interest on my savings, whatever I deposit with them. Okay. Current account say I can take out the money to make day-to-day payments. Okay. And I will not have to forgo any of, I will not have to pay any kind of cost for it. So what we say is that that sum of money can be withdrawn to make payments without additional charges. सेविंग्स अकाउंट के अंदर से व्हेन यू विड्रॉ मनी, if money is withdrawn from savings account, then bank charges are higher and interest is forgone. Interest is given up. Now, from the back in the day to now, a lot of things are changing. For example, there was a time when whenever you put the money in the savings account, you used to get interest annually. साल में एक दफ़ा मिलता था. तो अगर तुमने साल में एक दफ़ा भी विड्रॉ कर दिया तो पूरे साल का इंटरेस्ट आप फॉरगो कर दोगे. They're discouraging you. You understand? Then comes monthly interest. The bank started, they became more sophisticated, and things became more calculated, computerized, so they were able to give you interest on a monthly basis. Now I have seen some bank accounts which are giving you interest on a daily basis. It's a very minor, small percentage. But the thing is, even if you withdraw the money from that account, they don't charge you much for it. So these are the key differences when it comes to the account that you want to open. Savings, they want you to be discouraged about taking the money out and keep it for the later, and they offer you interest for it. So this is our first main activity. Second main activity is of the banks is lending. They take the depositors' money, since they have to pay depositors on the savings account. So they basically lend that money to whoever needs the money for purchase of anything, maybe car, a house, or something like that. So lending, we say like many people and businesses need to borrow money. Their needs could be anything, to buy cars and stuff. Okay. So lending के अंदर there are few ways. एक होता है loans. ठीक है. Loans में क्या होता है that you are borrowing a fixed sum for a set period of time. Example, rupees 1 lakh for 1 year. ठीक है. अब इस पे क्या होगा? An interest will be set. Okay. So at, let's say, 10% interest rate. Should be able to define what interest rate is. So interest rate is the additional sum of money paid by the borrower or earned by the lender on the principal amount. On the principal amount. प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट होता है जो लोन का अमाउंट होता है. Like for example, 1 lakh rupees over here was the principal. 10% is the interest. So the amount of interest would be, in our case over here, example, 1 lakh का 10% निकालोगे तो that's 10,000 rupees. That's the interest that has to be paid along with 1 lakh rupees after a year. That's how the loans work. Okay. Then on the side, you have credit card, obviously. So banks की lending का तरीका is one through the credit cards also. You already know what credit cards are. It's a limit. The card has a limit of money that you can use. So the amount that you borrow from it will be payable with interest. Right? So that's a credit card. That's one way of also how the banks tend to do lending. Then you have mortgage. From the Western point of view, even in your time in Pakistan, there's going to be a huge market for mortgage. Mortgages are basically uh, when banks lend to firms or households to buy office building or house or factories and stuff like that. So mortgage क्या होता है? I want to buy myself a house, but I can't afford this 5 crore rupees ka house right now. So the banks will say, okay, you can give 1 crore rupees, and the 4 crores we're going to pay off the seller, and then you can pay us back with interest over 20-25 years or whatever you're comfortable with. Usually ये इसका 25 साल का होता है, because 4 crores for a normal working person it will take a lot of years. तो उसके अंदर एक काफ़ी बड़ी आपकी इंटरेस्ट की अमाउंट भी होती है, but with the passage of time you keep on paying. जस्ट लाइक विद द कार्स समटाइम्स, जैसे गाड़ी खरीदनी है 5 years की होती है जनरली, मैक्सिमम इज 5 years, एंड सम बैंक्स ऑफर फॉर 7 years you can get yourself a car and you can make a basic deposit and then you can make payments for the rest of the amount. So these are different ways through which banks lend money. ठीक है? इसके अलावा what else banks can offer? There are other services like um, they can help people with making different means of making payments. What kind of different means of payments? We say such as checks and bank drafts, जिसको हम पे ऑर्डर बोलते हैं इधर. When we're making payment for CIEs and stuff, we go to the bank, we make a bank draft. उससे क्या होता है basically एक बैंक, some banks even offer foreign currency exchanges. Okay, I can buy dollars from them and convert dollars to rupees. So they can even offer me services like that. Then some of them even have the safe deposit boxes. It's called a safe deposit boxes. So safe deposit boxes के अंदर obviously I can keep my jewelry over there, I can keep my important stuff, documents and stuff over there, and I can keep it safe.